All right. And I was saying that, what experiences or decisions shaped your career the most? Like, what decision did you take, or what people did you meet? Oh, sorry.
I don't think I'm on.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. I was asking you that, what decision did you make, or which people did you meet that shaped your career the most?
I have to be honest with you. I think we were so confident as two young girls. We didn't ask anybody any advice. We literally knew exactly what we wanted. Both me and Sana are very religious, we're very spiritual. And I promise you, it is Allah who's guided us all the way through. Every decision we made, we were always, we were ambitious. That's what our nature was like that. And so we would say, okay, let's start small. And then after 3 years, we said, oh, that's too small. Let's increase our production. Then we said, oh, fine, we're in Karachi. Let's go open up in Lahore. Then we opened up in Lahore, and then we said increase. At one point, we had 500 hardcore workers working under us. So for a small business, that's a very big number of people. Yeah. And then 15 years ago, we said, oh, hang on, now we've done all of that. Let's go into retail. And then from there, we said, and before the trade stopped between India and Pakistan, we had a huge presence in India. We had a huge presence in Bangladesh. So for two girls, literally at 24 years old, to decide that this is what we want to do, and the lawn phenomena, that helped us greatly. And the joke used to be that in India, the two biggest imports from Pakistan were, one was Hum TV dramas and one was SAFINAZ lawn. And so I thought we ticked a lot of the boxes that we wanted to, but again, it was very organic. There was no one coming in and structuring us. And like I said, we never asked our husbands. Both our husbands are very successful businessmen in their own right. We never asked them. We did what our instinct told us. And like I said, nobody knows better, because I'm a woman. I know what I want to wear. I know what all the women want to wear. And then when you start dictating, now I'm getting bored, so today I want to wear, I think that short should come back in. That's a lot of power that one wields. Yeah. I mean, the flared pant that you guys are all wearing, that we introduced at 35 years ago, because in those days, you only wore a shalwar. And then we said, why don't you wear a pant? So when you have that kind of influence, you don't need to ask people around you, because you're actually leading the pack. Now a lot more people have come in, competition is a lot more, and we're not the cutting edge that we used to be, because obviously we're much younger, so the younger generation has come in, and it's great to learn from them. But for 35 years, we never asked people, we just figured it out on our own. So we didn't need that guidance, so to speak.
Okay, and at what age did you reach that moment where you were like, okay, now I'm satisfied, and
I'm still not satisfied.
Okay.
I still think there's a lot we can do. When you go into retail, then we started perfume, and we started shoes, and we started kids wear, and we started women's wear, and we started home. And there's so many. It's like you touch one thing and it diverts and it opens up into 5 more, and then another thing you hit and that opens up into 5 more. There's just so much you can do. I mean, it's business at the end of the day, right? So you got to feel what clicks, what resonates with your customer. Retail has been a very hard learning curve for us. It's not been as easy as we thought it was. I mean, when we were doing couture, that was so much easier. Lawn was so much easier. Retail is a beast on its own. And so there are very different challenges in retail compared to what we were used to. So also adapting to that has not been as easy as I would have thought it would have been. That's because it's a massive business on its own.
Yeah. So okay. And what did you feel like, as a woman, that, going out and, really, I don't know, as a woman, what do you think that was your the most hardest thing that you've done? Going out in the industry and, where it's not obviously fashion, but generally just, working with workers who are men, and what did you...
I keep on saying this, we have loved and enjoyed every minute of it. I remember when we used to work for Al-Karam, I was 9 months pregnant, and we used to drive all the way to their factory, and they had these printing boards. and there was no lunch, there was nothing. We used to have to carry our own thing, and we used to sit on those tables for hours while they were screen printing our samples. Not once did I say, oh my God, look at me, look at my life. I just felt blessed because we were doing something that we loved. And that's why I keep on coming back to everyone. You have to find your passion. You don't find your passion, you're not going to enjoy life. And life is meant to be balanced. It's not meant to be all work. Your success is when you have a balanced life, not about how much money you earn. It's about how happy you are. Your success is your happiness quota, not your money quota. And we have to understand that. Are you happy to go to work? Are you happy when you come home? I'm not saying money is not important. I mean, whoever said that is talking rubbish. Money is very important. But it's not the be-all and end-all of your life. Why are we put on this life? We are put on this earth to live our lives, not to work our lives. It's to live. It's to enjoy what Allah Miya has given us, enjoy the bounty of Allah Miya. No one's saying that don't work hard, but the balance is very important. And a lot of times in our drive for success and for money, we forget the balance of life. You know, we probably all have fathers who we said we never saw our fathers because they were working so hard. I'm sure that would be a regret. Not seeing your children grow up, not enjoying a weekend. I think that the balance is what we have to realize, is that's why we're put on this earth. It's to find our balance, do good, work hard, but find your balance and find joy in living. There's no point going to work every single day and hating what you do. And that's why when you ask me what are the hardships, I can't tell you the hardships because we always had a great time. And I think having a partner was 80% of the ease. Okay. It's because when there were hardships, you would laugh. You had someone to talk to, you had someone to banter with, you weren't alone in that.
Yeah.
And I think that plays a very big role in our success, is that we had each other to bounce off.
Okay. You know, there's like many people say don't get into business with your family, and you know, since your partner is in your family, how is it? You were saying that you enjoyed it, and you guys are like best friends and it was like really fun, but like was it tough? Like, you know, because getting into business with family can be really dangerous too.
I think the most important thing to realize is that if you don't have respect for each other and you don't have a boundary, that's when problems can interfere. There is a boundary with everyone. There's a boundary between you and your parents. There's a boundary between you and your children, between you and your siblings. If you allow that boundary to be crossed, that's on you. That's your fault.
Yeah.
But if you put a boundary and say this is a no zone, no go as zone, you very much stay within that boundary, and the respect is mutual. When you have that forget about business partners, you have that in all aspects of your life. You and your husband should have a boundary. Certain things that you should not say to him and he should not say to you. There's a level of respect. Your children, there's a level of respect. Your children should not be able to cross that line. The same with business partners. And I think if you have that healthy respect for each other, that can be a very successful partnership in all walks of life. And again, I keep on coming down to character building along with business building. Those are very important things of how you speak to someone, how you treat someone. Those are very much part and parcel of a successful business.
Yes, okay. And you know, what is the most exciting thing about your business? Like, what thing excites you the most about it? Like,
I think when we went to Bangladesh, that was very exciting.
Okay.
So when we used to be very big in Bangladesh, and then we had this two countries not getting along and trade stopped and everything. And then when it opened up again last year and they asked us to come, I thought that was very humbling because everyone seemed to know us and they seemed to know our story. And I thought that was amazing that you've gone to another country and you've opened up a store there and people are coming to see you, to talk to you. I thought that was very humbling, and that was a wonderful moment.
that was
That was a lovely moment.
Okay, and is there any story that you would like to share with all of us about, you know, anything in your business that you find funny, or you find like something that would motivate others to start a business venture of their own?
I think over 35 years, there are so many stories and there are many funny things that have happened to us. I think I can't explain enough that there are so many small things that contribute to a successful business. And having a healthy respect, having a code of ethics, being generous when you make your money. I think just giving back, like I'm saying, it's very easy. Somebody will call you up and say, oh, I don't have the time. But I think it's really nice to say, no, I have the time and I would love to share my story. And when people come and they say, can I talk to you for 5 minutes? I say, please come to the office, ask me whatever you want to. I think those are humbling moments, and I think taking advantage of all those moments is actually what makes you a better person. So I think that Allah has been very, very kind to us. We've had a really good run of it. And just the fact that we're still here and we're still contributing, maybe next year we won't, but as far as we are now, it's been a good journey.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Can
One more question and then we'll look.
Okay. My question for you would be, okay, since you said that that support system is really important,
The what system?
The support system is really important when you're starting a business. Like you need your father. Who do you think that when you were starting off, and because obviously like you said at that time women didn't usually work, and it was like you guys were just going out, and like it was out in the open, you guys were going out, and it was a huge step at that time.
Yeah.
So who do you think in your life was the one person that supported you throughout? You were like,
Who has disappointed me?
supported you.
Oh, supported me.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's my father and my husband. Because my biggest thing was, my father was a doctor. And my father worked extremely hard and very long hours. And I remember when we decided to do this business together, obviously we needed seed money. And in those days, 35 years ago, we decided that the money that we needed would be 1 lakh rupees, to hire one tailor and one karigar. There was no, we didn't have a place, so we said, Sana has a little area at the back, so we'll use that. Initially, we started in one of the guest rooms. And so we decided, okay, listen, we'll come up with 1 lakh rupees. It doesn't sound like a lot of money to you guys now, but it was a lot of money to us. And I remember telling Sana that I can only ask my father for 25,000 rupees because it's a lot of money for my father. And I will ask him for that. And Sana said, I'll ask Arif for 75,000 rupees. And I remember the burden, and I used to think, oh my God, I owe my father that money and I have to give it back.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I felt, oh, I'm privileged, I don't need to give it back, and daddy doesn't want it back. He never asked me for his money back. But I always felt that I must pay my father back. And after 1 year, because we made no money for the first year, and that was very disappointing. Because we thought, oh, we have these hotshot society girls, everyone would love what we do, and nobody liked what we did. So it was really disappointing for the first year. And then I told Sana, I said, I have to pay daddy back. So after 1 year, if it doesn't work, we'll have to pack it up. So she said, fine, absolutely. And we did a fashion show, and it was a disaster. And nobody liked our clothes. And then we said, okay, you know what, we've got 1 month left, because I think it was November, and I said by January 1st we have to pack it up, because we pay off all our, sell our fabric and pay my father back. And that month we broke into profit. So after exactly 12 months, I came back and I gave my father the first money. I didn't take it myself, I gave it back to him. And my father said, why did you feel the need that you have to pay me back? I said, because I see you work so hard that I know the value of money. And I think that was very important. We've all lost the value of money. We all think, oh, it's only a lakh, oh, it's only 25,000 rupees. But when you realize how hard you work for that money, there has to be a qadar for that.
Yeah.
Like nothing irritates me more if my son leaves the AC on. I'm like, who's paying the bill? Your father's paying that bill. Have the respect, put the AC off. We've lost our value for money.
Yeah.
And so when you work hard and when you earn your own money, you realize the importance of money.
Yeah.
And so I think that's very important to realize that hard work, there's no compromise on hard work. And if you work hard, and of course you need luck on your side, you will be successful.
You are sitting here and you have massive retail brand and a bridal brand as well. So what does success look like for you?
So first of all, I'm very satisfied with my life. I'm not dissatisfied. I think we've accomplished a lot. I think when you're slightly ambitious, like me and Sana are, you're always looking for the next thing. So how can you grow your business? How can you improve your business? Like for example, 2 years ago, Karachi went through a really bad retail slump. We've gone through skyrocketing inflation. Everyone has been hit. And I think retail was hit the worst because at the end of the day, it's a luxury, it's not a necessity. And all of you must have realized everyone's bills have gone up. So the last thing that you're going to put your focus on is on clothes. So I think 2 years ago, all of retail all over Pakistan was hit very badly. And then you have to figure out, you've got to pivot on that. You've got to say, okay, fine, now how do I help? First of all, I want to stay alive, I want to stay relevant. So the most important thing is that how do I reduce costs so that I can make the shalwar kurta cheaper. So it's not that every day you are challenged with different challenges. And every day you have to learn to pivot. If you don't know how to pivot in business, you will fail in your first year because the challenges keep on coming and they come in very hard and they come in very fast. And we are an unrelenting country. There's no support from any avenue. So you really have to be on top of your game. And if you don't figure it out, you'll be knocked out before you know it.
You mentioned that there are many challenges.
Yes.
And you also said that you're very grateful. So how do you practice gratefulness?
I've also said
challenges.
Challenges and what did you say?
And how do you be grateful?
Grateful?
Against these challenges.
I think the challenges, the only way to remain on top of the game is you could say the challenges should be much worse. I think in every single day, even if you're not working, living in Pakistan day to day is a challenge. How to get through that? So you have to, if you are constantly grateful, if you're constantly in a state of sugar, your challenges will come but they will also pass. And that's why I believe so strongly is that we live in challenging times. I think now our biggest problem is competition. Right? You're not even competing with a population which is a massive population in our own country. You're dealing with China. And before you know it, they'll come in and they'll take over everything. So the challenges are there. You just have to figure out how you can do best from there. And like I keep on using this word pivot. If you don't know how to pivot in business, you will be in trouble because the challenges are always there. Bijli, gas, literally having educated employment. You can't find people in your country of such a large population. You can't find the right people. How sad is that? You're fighting on multiple levels. So if you're getting into business, don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. It is actually really tough, especially when you're starting your own business because you're putting in your own investment. So anyone that's going into a business like that, think not once or twice, think 20 times. But jab jaoge to you have to go in strong. You can't go faint-hearted. When aapka pehle saal mein aapka thak ho jayega. There are lots of failures before you reach your success. So you have to have a lot of grit and hard work.
Assalamualaikum ma'am, this is Aftab. I just want to know if there is a plan for expansion or introducing the men's category for under the catalog of SAFINAZ for men.
So very interesting question because we actually did think about that many years ago. And we thought we would be very good at it. But what happened is that we decided is that as we are a women-centric brand, we should actually focus on women. And the buying power, as you know, lies with the women. So it is all about making money. When you have a retail space, every square footage is marked by money. So we realized that, like suppose I'm going home, I just shut home down actually because we realized it wasn't bringing in the profit percentage as women's wear was. So it's a business decision. You have to say, I'd rather kick out this and add more unstitched or whatever. So every 6 months we have analysis on what pieces do well, and we realized that men's wear would be taking a much further backseat. But for example, J. Dot only concentrates on men and less on women. And why? Because that's their demographic. They came out strong with that and they're not really interested into going into a women's thing. So I think every business finds a little niche and then you stick with that.
So
The factor of my innovation? Motivation. I think initially, I think it was actually to run my home, to be very honest with you. I wanted to have more spending money. And nothing used to irritate me more than girls say, oh, you know, my husband doesn't give me any money, or he doesn't give me enough money, and I wish I could buy that. My point is, Allah has given you a brain. Why don't you go out there and earn your living? And that's what I did. And I remember getting married and I told my father, I said, you know what, I'm going to buy my furniture for my house, for my new house, with my own money. And my father said, don't be silly. And I said, no, I'm very proud of that. And so I bought myself a jewelry set with my own money. I bought furniture with my own money. I could be prouder. I don't think till today I've asked my husband for any money. And I find that a great sense of empowerment. And like I said, it's not about going to work. Suppose you are a housemaker, that is your success. You do the best that you can in that. My motivation at that time when I was 24 is that I wanted money to spend and buy things. I wanted to travel. So that was my motivation. I think it's still remains my motivation. Because if I want to do something, I don't need to ask somebody for that. I just say, oh, I've got my own money and I do it. So for me, that was my motivation initially. And then of course, when you see that people are liking your clothes and you see people wearing them, and then you see that inspires you and it motivates you to do better for them. So it's double food. Oh,
in a podcast you mentioned that in Pakistan we have to be creative inside our box because of our tradition that okay, we have certain limitations. So how do you what is the thought process that you have to be creative but inside the box?
Yeah.
So how do you relation with your
So actually, I think it's more difficult for us. I remember making that comment in a podcast and I got a lot of negative feedback on that. And I'm like, but why are you thinking that we're like Western society? We're not wearing skirts, we're not wearing trousers, we're not wearing blouses and tops, we're not wearing dresses. So if you tell me that I always have to wear a two-piece, right? And my two-piece also can't be a short two-piece, then I am limited. I am limited and I'm trying to do the best that I can with the length, because that's all I can do. I can't make a box because here Pakistan is saying bada banao to the bada lagungi. So you are very limited. The only thing that we had free hand on is because we're Pakistani, we love color. So there was never a color restriction. You know, abroad they go by a palette. So they say orange and green is in, so that whole collection is orange and green. We've never had that. So we've had a very khulla, open hand on color. But 100% we are restricted. And very good, we like to admit that about our country or our culture or our religion. It is what it is. And I love that. Don't get me wrong, I love shalwar kurta. And I wear shalwar kurta all the time. I just now want to make beautiful shalwar kurtas, you know. So, and like I said, when you're influencing the women of your country, it's a huge, it's a big motivator.
So you mentioned about keeping boundaries. So I want to understand that you have a partner, an amazing partner. What are the roles between two of you? And if you have any kind of disagreements, then how do you work with it?
So initially we had no disagreements at all. And then when we started having a few disagreements on how we wanted to design, it was resolved very quickly. Alexander, you do your thing, I do mine. And then he would say, Acha, now I've made this, what do you think? And she said, haan, yeah, very pretty, why don't you do it? And then, so we make that came from healthy respect. So it's not that now over 30, we did everything together, all our designing and everything. When we went into lawn, I took the lead on lawn. And so I was designing lawn in Cali on my own with my team, and she was doing the bridal side. And even now, we have very amicably and very naturally transitioned into two different sections. Like she will do all the bridal, and she's very into it and does a great job. And I've gone more into retail, and I'm with my team and designing. So it's very normal. It was just a natural branch out into what we were best at. Like home, I love home, so I said, oh, I'll do home. Sana loves chappal, she said, oh, I'll do. So it's not taking complete control, but it's like taking leadership on that. And then you have your little team under that. And so I can 100% walk in and say, oh my God, I hate those shoes, Sana, why are you making those? And she'll say, Acha, why don't you like them? And I said, because no one's going to wear them. And she'll say, Acha, theek hai, shayad ye sahi keh rahi hai, isko change kar do. Or many a time because we're very opinionated as well. We're like, I don't care what you say, I love what I'm doing. And then you put it out there. But there's always like I said, a healthy boundary. I'm not going to kill you on the fact that I don't like what you're doing. It's always like respect to say, look, we've done this for 25 years. We both know what we're doing and we're both going to respect each other on that. So the vision is very much always the same.
I do have another question that, so like when you're doing this activity, we got stuck many times. So in your whole journey, like has there been any moments where you felt like in a slump or you were stuck, and like how basically you got out of it?
So I think it's very normal because it's a creative process. You do go through many periods when you're like, oh my God, I just don't know what to do. And I think we had that period during our bridal, I think maybe 5 years ago. And it was just that we had just started retail and we had lost concentration on bridal. And we saw the sales dipped and nobody was coming to us. And then very quickly we realized, well not very quickly, it was 2 years that, hang on, that's really bad. We can't focus, we can't shift entire focus, we have to divide focus. And that when we went back in and revived the bridal business, and now alhamdulillah that's a very big component of our business. But it's exactly what I'm trying to say, that you can't take your eye off the ball for a second. And you're juggling so many at a time that it is sometimes quite inevitable कि एक चीज़ ये रहेगी. But that's when the team comes in, when someone who's actually running your business will turn around and say, oh, by the way, ये इसी पे sales तो बहुत खराब हो रहा है, आप लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? And then you say, oh yeah, you're right, I need to get on to that, and then you get into that. So there are many times that we're in a slump and we're like, I can't think of anything, and that's where your team comes in, right? Our team is integral to our success. And you say, I really can't think, and you just take over for a couple of weeks, and then you travel along, you go to a shadi, you see another girl, and then, oh my God, she wants something amazing, and then immediately you get excited, and the process starts again. So it's very much a curve.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Tuba and I'm asking that if a newcomer or a girl like me wants to start a business, so what advice you would give to them?
She's asking what advice you would give to someone who wants to start a business.
Oh, for clothing particular?
Yes.
So I would say that it's actually a great business. It's a great business. It's a great. If you not notice in the last 5 years, how many small little businesses on Instagram have opened up. Like I keep on telling Sana that if we close down SAFINAZ, that will be well dressed because there are hundreds of girls doing amazing stuff. So it's actually a really good business, and I think it works because of the demographics, right? We're in a business where now more women than ever are actually working. And so that means you've got disposable money at your hand, and you also need to be dressed smart, and you also don't have the time for a tailor anymore. So 3 things are working in your favor. So if you actually are talented and you realize that you have something to give, it's actually a really good business to go into.
I have 3 questions. First question is like, what are the challenges or more challenges you face when starting out in the Pakistani fashion industry?
In this industry in particular, I think we're facing multiple challenges. You have a massive sales tax challenge. If the GST goes immediately onto the client, it's almost tripling and it's really unfair. You've got no government support on that. One of your few thriving industries in your country is the textile business, which there's no support. You have no infrastructure, no gas, no electricity. These are your huge challenges. When you have daily strikes, your workers don't come in, your transportation issues. These issues are not relevant in every country. It's shocking how many issues we have in our country. It's also shocking how we continue. I think that is the resilience of a Pakistani. How you just keep at it. It is, like we live in, our 2 factories are in Timari. You're not allowed to put in an extra generator because they don't allow it. but yet they're all factories. They're not giving you the bijli, but you can't put in a generator. How do you run a business? There's no one to talk to. There is no system that's a support system to say, you know what, they're giving back to their country, you're paying your taxes, you're doing all of that, there has to be some kind of infrastructure. There's none. So it's very frustrating.
Another question is like, there's so many fresh brands coming up every now and then. So how do you stay relevant to the brands?
It's a daily challenge. You cannot be complacent because exactly like you said, there are so many brands and everyone is doing a good job. No one's doing a bad job. Everyone is doing a good job. The problem now is that everything is price centric. So even among all of you girls, I'm quite sure very few of you actually buy SAFINAZ. In fact, I don't see any one of you wearing SAFINAZ. Why? Because there are just so many brands to choose from. And maybe, especially nowadays, maybe the price point is very important to you. If you're saying Khadi is giving me 4,000 rupees, and that means for 8,000 I can buy two, whereas SAFINAZ is giving one for 8,000. So now the big war is come on price. It's not really on design anymore. And that actually is terribly detrimental to any business. It's because now you're not looking at quality, you're literally just looking at price. So that eventually will actually harm the entire infrastructure. It's not just us, because either you're in it, you either compete or you get out, right? But what's actually happening is because costs are being lowered to such a level, you are affecting retail on a whole different demographic. So it's a constant challenge trying to stay relevant.
Last question is, by now you must have a great team of designers and craftsmen. So it must have taken you a lot of trials, this person is not right for this job, we have done bad hiring, you must have gone through bad hiring cases. So what do you see in a person when you hire them? Does the person culture fit or?
So I think because we are so passionate about what we do, we are very hands-on with all the people that work with us. So what happens is that, I think maybe it's actually a bad thing, is because we actually are mentoring and teaching and guiding every single person on the design floor, literally from the minute they step in. So what happens is that the trajectory of understanding is very quick. Within a year, you know exactly what our taste is and what the company philosophy is, and then you get coached. And that is the biggest, singular, most annoying thing. And we call ourselves coaching center because we invest so much time and effort into our team, and then literally for 50,000 rupees more, 30,000 rupees more, they get coached. And you can't blame them, because at the end of the day, it's all about earning money, right? You can't blame them. And I think this has happened excessively over the last 5 years. It's literally stronger companies looking around and saying, oh, she's talented, I'll just send the HR team and just offer her 20,000 rupees more, and both of you will be paying them. And the next day, it's the resignation, then I've got to start again. So actually, that's a really frustrating thing. The pool is very small. So basically, it's a big pond with very few fish, talented fish. So, and there are lots of institutes that have come out that are designed in place. Not very talented people are coming out, which is unfortunate.
That is an absolutely fabulous conversation. So glad that you're here. And I think it's such a good thing that you didn't do an MBA. Because you would not have gotten to where you are. And I think that what you teach in the MBA is so structured, so different. I'd like Azam to invite you to our MBA class. I think these people here have gained a lot. I have as well. But I think you need to come and tell our MBA students, our MBA faculty about your journey and how somebody with your background and your intuition and understanding can be so super successful. I mean, Amaranda went here, Huma went here, you studied at the IBA, and you've already got way ahead. My question is about succession. Are your kids part of the SAFINAZ setup? What are you thinking of? What happens 25 years from now? Do you at all think about it, or do you just leave it to fate? Or are you sort of saying, thinking about the next generation or the next 25 years from now? So that's one question. And the other, I think somebody asked this as well. When you're in a relationship, whether it's a business relationship or familiar relationship, being with somebody for 35 years is difficult. It's fabulous, but as well as difficult, whether they're spouses, children, especially business partners. I think you did respond to that and how you negotiated differences, you and Sana. Has a time ever come when either of you have said, I can't do this with this person anymore? This has just gone too far. Or have you been able to sort of iron out differences? And if you have, that's another talk that you need to give us. How does one deal with differences of opinion? Two women who are very successful, equally successful, probably equally headstrong, as you said, so, just these two questions. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'll answer your second question first. I think before any of my relationships, but I have many relationships with Sana. I think my first relationship and most important relationship is that she's my friend. And she's my best friend. And the fact that we share a husband and a brother complicates things, like you say. But because the interest is always the same, she wishes the best for her brother and I wish the best for my husband. And also I'm a very integral part in their family and in supporting that family. And I think there was such a healthy respect for that because both of us went to work and both of us helped out the family. That I think that those are memories that you can never erase, especially if you're an honest and upright person, which Sana is. And I think what's very important is that your ego plays a huge role in defining relationships. And if you can actually say, it's not about me and it's not about my ego, but my friendship is more important. There are many times when I said, I can't believe this and I walked out. But never to the point to say, I will not come back to work tomorrow and I will not say, hi Sana, how are you? You were annoying yesterday, but it's fine. And to realize that actually it's always about respect. And if you have an equal respect for each other, you're never going to fall out of that boundary line. And I think that's something by God's grace that we managed to do, and we still will manage to do. Because when you're running such a big business, it's completely normal to have differences of opinion. A husband and wife have differences of opinion on how to raise the children. And it's not that the stronger partner who wins, it's the patient partner who wins. The one who consistently keeps on thinking that, my way is right, and with patience keeps on explaining that point. You don't win the point by screaming and shouting. And we are both very cognizant of the fact that we built something very beautiful between the two of us. And even if it finishes next year, I think I've accomplished what I wanted to in life, and I'm very proud of what I've done, and I speak for Sana as well. We've never crossed a barrier where we have been abusive to each other or taken advantage of one another. We've never done that, and I pray that we continue not to do that. So I think again it comes back to healthy boundaries, which is your second question. I've forgotten your first question. Succession. So that's a very relevant question, and I think when we started out with retail, that was the most important question. And because we have 3 children among the 2 of us, we were so confident that our children will go into our business. And none of them wanted to. So that was that was a hit for us. I think because I was so ambitious and I've worked all my life, I've worked since I'm 19 years old, I just presumed that my daughter would be as ambitious as me and she would find it so easy to step into something like this. She hates what I do. And she said, I never wanted to do what you want to do. You keep on pressurizing me and it's not my dream. And now I've realized, she's 29, I've now realized that it's her life. And she has to be happy. So I can't force her to do it. She doesn't have the skill set that we have. Maybe because she was never under that kind of pressure and she didn't need to perform to that level. My son, I always give the choice that you have your choice. You can either do your own thing, you can join my husband, or you can join me. And it just so happened over COVID, he did a semester with my husband, interning, and he loved what he did, so he joined my husband. He has no interest in my business. And Zubair shockingly never had an interest, even though she's from Wharton, so she has a business degree. And the last 2 years she's joined us. So there's a little bit of gimmer. And so all our hopes are pinned on Zubair. And she does a very good job. She's a very smart girl. And she has now taken a very active role in running the financial side of it, the business side of it. We don't have a legacy from the design point of view. So I think the logical step would actually be that you train your team well enough, like all the retail teams are, like Al-Karam or Gul Ahmad or Khadi, they've all got design teams that come in. Sapphire, there's no one person that's leading the team. And I think eventually that would have to be the case. Yeah. But it's very sad there's no succession.